Good afternoon, everybody. Wee Paddy from across the Shuck, and we're going to be doing this 3 for Thursday on Barlows this week because there's a couple of wee points that I wanted to bring up about Barlows. I brought up before, but I've got a lot of new subscribers now that maybe don't know it. What is a Barlow knife? This would be what I would call a typical Barlow. Well, not typical because it's absolutely beautiful, but the bolster should be about a third of the size of the cover. Sorry, of the knife itself, not the cover. The knife, it should be about approximately a third. And this passes that quite happily. I'm quite happily. This looks like a Barlow that people would expect to see. But not all Barlows are like that. When a company makes a Barlow, when you get companies like Arthur Wright and Taylor's Eyewitness, who've been making these for such a long time, and this is an Arthur Wright. This is their basic £38, I think it is, working Barlow. But it's a very small bolster. It doesn't quite meet that what everybody thinks should be this third of the length of the blade. But it's still a Barlow. And the way you have to look at it, each company has patterns that are different and they go back hundreds of years. Some of these patterns are hundreds of years old. If you look at this company, Arthur Wright, they also do now, this isn't actually Harrison, but they make the same lamb's foot in Arthur Wright, and that is the size of the bolster they put on their normal knives. So you can see the difference in this. This is just a normal bolstered, single-bladed jackknife. This is a Barlow, because that's the patterns they've used for years upon years. So, hope that dispels that. So you need to know a wee bit more about the company who are making them and what the difference is on their range. And a Barlow is just a jackknife with a bigger bolster. That's all it is. They put the bolster on to add strength to it. And I think if you go right back to the beginning of Barlows, a lot of them were made at the end of the day with lesser materials that the men made up themselves. And they put the bigger bolster on it to make because the wood wasn't maybe great or whatever, so they put that to give it extra strength. That's what I believe where the Barlow came about with the bigger bolster. It was to make up for the fact the materials they were using weren't great, and it gave that added bit of strength up at where all the torsion takes place. So another little, again, I'm if you know better, correct me. I'm quite happy to be corrected. But I just wanted to throw about it. This is a budget, this is a mid, this is a high. And the price range are different. This is under 50, over 50, over 100. Okay, so that's very loosely the way this one is working. And with different knives, it'll work in different ways. So let's start with the basic. This is a basic Barlow. This is an Arthur Wright, which just happens to be my favourite knife company, and also the custom maker, who is the son of the owner, Ashley Harrison. I collect his knives. But this is the basic Barlow. And as a basic Barlow, take the word basic out, this is just a flippin' good Barlow knife. Is the steel absolutely brilliant? They do these in stainless and carbon. I think it's SF200 stainless, and it's a Sheffield made stainless steel that goes perfectly with a Sheffield knife. And they also do a carbon blade as well, and that's C70, I believe. But it doesn't matter. If you can sharpen again, it doesn't matter. This is just a working knife. You can bring an edge back on it easy. It's softer. It's not heat treated as hard, so it is a bit softer. But it means you can work with it, and you're not going to worry about it breaking or chipping or doing it. You can put a lot of work into this knife. And with the lovely bulbous bolster, fits in the hand, absolutely beautiful. This is just a knife to have in your pocket that you can use for anything. And if you broke it or if you've done something with it, you don't care too much. You can go and buy another one. It's in that price range where you're not going to be frightened. I don't suggest you go out and try and break it. That's not what I mean. But for everyday use, this will not break. This will cover everything. And at the end of the night, give it a strop or a wee quick sharpen on a strop, and she's ready for the next day. Inexpensive, everyman Barlow. Absolutely recommend this 100%. This next one is a custom. And this is from a Little Messer, which is the name for the custom knife makers going back years upon years in Sheffield. And the Little Messer, this is Stephen Cocker. He makes knives for other companies, other old English companies. And this is his own variant of it. That bolster is just stunning. You've got the big rat tail across here and a single line across the top, and it's just gorgeous. This looks like bone, doesn't it? Again, I've showed this knife quite a while back. This is wood. It's green wood, but it's also been dyed green. And then he individually does every little scoop of this. It's custom made by himself in a little shop. Absolutely beautiful. Really beautiful. Brass liners. Just beautiful. Nickel silver bolster. It is a gorgeous knife. And I'll just show you the difference in the blades. If I can get this one out and this one. So these are two British knife makers. And you can see the difference in the blade. This Barlow is the same size, but the Stephen Cocker one is a smaller blade, a thinner blade than what's on this. This is a working knife, a genuine big working knife. And so is this, but it's a custom. So you do have to treat it with a bit more reverence than a basic. This doesn't need to have a big working blade on it like this does. Now, these are just my opinions. This is perfectly sized for a little knife to put in your pocket to bring out that's one, just going to look beautiful and will draw attention. And this jigging, I cannot tell you, it is the nicest jigging on a knife that I own. It is beautiful. And the fact that it's in wood is even more just amazing, that he can pull this off, that it just looks like a beautifully old piece of bone that's been just hand chiseled. It's just beautiful. I really do love this knife, and I need to carry it more and more and use it just as an everyday knife. This is a show-off knife. This is a knife that you take out and you'd be proud your friends would want to have a look at it. But there you are, a gorgeous knife from Stephen Cocker. And Arthur Wright & Son, Stephen Cocker, and this one is a GEC. And this is another Barlow, but a completely different shape than if you take that. Now, the nice thing about these, they're all wood. So it was 3 wood knives and 3 Barlow knives. This one's lovely. Just a beautiful knife from GEG. It's just a small, and this one is the, I don't think it has a number on it. Oh, it does, 25. This is a number 25. I keep getting them mixed up as 25 and 26. They're the same shape of a body, but the one is inverted and done. The bottom, the thicker part is up the top. But this is a real good work knife. Good blade steel on it. Comes down to a reasonably good point. Really beautiful. This is in snake wood, which never comes across on camera, but it's beautifully done in snake wood. Let me see if I can get the back. Oh, there you go. You can see that. You see that picture of the diagonal lines across and vertical line? It's just beautiful. Snake wood. An expensive wood, and this is an expensive knife from GEC. It's one of their more expensive ones. But it's a 3-fingered knife, right? But, oh my gosh, in hand. Honestly, you wouldn't know there's a finger hanging off the end. It sits at the back there. Absolutely beautiful. Pushes up against the back. This is a grafter. This is a great grafter. And it's the Barlow. It's got that rounded top, which looks, again, completely different. They've all got 3 different Barlows, and that's what. And even in this little knife, there you are. The bolster is bigger than on the Arthur Wright, but they're all Barlow knives. This is about a third of the way. Probably the most strict, if you want to be strict, this is probably the most in size, perfect Barlow shape. But it's lovely. And it's got a lovely sheep's foot on it, which is great for all sorts of detailed work. The fact that it's small, you can cram your fingers up here and you can work with the most precision of any other knife I have. The small blade is perfect for that little detailed work. And even if you want to do a bit of whittling, it's a perfect little knife to get in places. Really, really agile in your hands. Beautiful knife. So, there you go. I've kept it under 10 minutes, which is amazing for me. 3 beautiful knives, different shapes, different sizes. Don't always jump in and knock something that you're not sure of, because the size of a bolster on a Barlow is not that important as long as it's big enough. To me, I believe the fact that it was made to improve the knife's strength and structure when they were made of lesser materials. All right, Paddy's away. Thanks very much for watching. Next week, tactical knives, locking no doubt. Take care now. Bye-bye.